Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. Today, I am reviewing Inside Wrestling, April 1990. The cover, Starcade 89, The Night of the Iron Man, Sting and the Warriors Triumph, and are ripped off. So, what does that mean? So, let's open up the magazine and find out. Now, this cover is ripped off, has completely came off the magazine. So, but like I said, as long as I can read, as long as everything in there is good, I don't necessarily matter. It doesn't matter as much. I'm not trying to sell these things, so I'm buying them. I ain't selling them. So got the WWF action figures, then the table of contents. Got send your letters to sincerely yours. These are when the fans write to editors of the magazine, and some talk about AWA and talk about Jimmy Snuka, Chris Adams, and Eric Embry. This letter is about Yokozuna when he was Coquinus Maximus. When is somebody going to control Coquinus Maximus? Even for a Samoan, he's too wide for wrestling. You can't tell me that Sheik Adnan Al Casey can control him. He's simply one of the wildest men ever, in my opinion, surpassing even Abdullah the Butcher and Bruiser Brody. If Coquinus stays around any longer, he's going to cause big problems for the AWA officials, who will probably have to ban him. We don't need this kind of person in the sport. So that's what they're talking about. They're talking about Coquinus Maximus, the future Yokozuna. The editor's note, just reviewing, going down things of what would be in a magazine. Top secret behind the dressing room door, where David Rosenbaum is just talking about Starcade 89 and how it's changed, how it used to be on Christmas and now it's moved. I mean, it used to be on Thanksgiving, but it's moved to Christmas, and the format has changed with the Iron Man design. So he was just talking about how different it was. On the road with Craig Peters, he's talking to the AWA president Joe Blanchard, and he's talking about how the AWA is doing their Team Challenge series, but they're doing it in not an empty arena, not an empty TV studio. It's called a secured facility. That's what it's called. It's not an empty. It's not an empty TV studio. It's a secured facility, and Joe Blanchard explains that the reason why they're having it in a secured facility is so that nobody will interfere. And I didn't know the fans interfered in matches, but apparently the fans are so violent they can't be in the secured facility either. So it's just the wrestlers, no fans, and no outside interference, but particularly no fans. So I guess that's a way of AWA or maybe even Pro Wrestling Illustrated trying to spin the fact of it, not being with no having a wrestling show with no fans. So I mean, I guess they had to try something to explain it and it's funny. I was watching AWA during this time, but I guess the shows they were putting out, I never saw the closed. I never saw the show with no fans. I saw shows that didn't have a lot of fans, but I never saw those empty studio matches. So yeah, it's rough when you're running a promotion. You can't draw any fans. So names making the news, talking about Andre the Giant and Haku joining forces and beating Demolition to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. Talking about Eddie Gilbert wrestling and getting a suffered rotator cuff and a sprained ankle in the match versus Kevin Sullivan. Talk about the Destruction Crew getting a challenge from the newly formed team of Paul Diamond and the Trooper, who would later become the Patriot. And, and also talk about the passing of Haystacks Calhoun. inside of Eddie Eleanor is talking about how it's coming up on a new decade, and he's just he doesn't see a lot of good things happening in the future, including seeing the return of the Rock and Roll Express, who he thinks are too old to be called the Rock and Roll Express. On assignment with Liz Hunter, she's talking about the transformation of Rick Martel from Rick Martel to the model Rick Martel. She's not cool with it. That advertisement for Pro Wrestling Illustrated Weekly, the newsletters, and I had some of these. I had them from about 90, from the 95 era, from the year 1995, but I don't know what I did with them. I hope I didn't throw them away, but I'm still looking for these. I would love to be able to read these things now. Go back and be able to read them. Where are they now? And they talk about Bob Orton Sr., Duke Kiyomura, Scott Hall, and Max Payne. And the wrestling capsule profile of Rick Martel. There's a color pinup of Rick Martel. Not a capsule profile pinup of Rick Martel. News from the wrestling capitals, where fans, correspondents write in about the matches that they saw, including Hulk Hogan vs. Kurt Hennig, Ric Flair vs. Great Muta, Ron Garvin vs. Greg Valentine, Larry Cameron vs. Owen Hart, Jerry Lawler vs. Junkyard Dog, and Macho Man vs. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Matt Brock's plain speaking. He visits like certain places, like he visits Atlanta, where he talks about Starrcade. He talks about Nashville and talking about Macho Man and Zeus against Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake. He talks about he going to Portland and talk about the whole Scotty the Body thing with Ginger, I guess with his valet. Then he was about to marry. Then he changed his mind. See, I didn't see none of this stuff. This stuff I only read about through the magazine. So that's one thing I guess have to go on YouTube and watch this whole Portland wrestling at this time period with Scotty the Body. Why Dustin Rhodes must abandon his American dream. Dustin, the natural Rhodes, is the prototypical chip off the old block. He looks and wrestles like his famous father, but lately he's even started to act like Dusty Rhodes. If he's ever going to establish himself as a superstar, this young man must stand on his own. So this basically just talks about how Dustin sounds and acts like Dusty, and how a lot of Dusty's enemies are trying to take that out on, since they can't get Dusty, they're going to get Dustin. They're going to try to hurt Dustin to get at Dusty. So I remember this is the era when I first remember seeing Dustin was in the USWA. And a lot of people wanted to get at him, wanted to get at Dusty. So they would get at Dusty, they would get to him. Because Dusty was already in WWF at this time. The Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan or bust. The Ultimate Warrior has waited for a shot at Hulk Hogan's WWF World title for too long. Finally, he's ready to take action. But even his most desperate attempts at a title match might fail to earn him what the WWF doesn't want him to have. So I guess these are people. I guess the editors must have known that Warrior and Hogan was going to wrestle later that year. So they was throwing a lot of hints that these two were going to wrestle, even though I had no clue until the Royal Rumble. That's when I kind of figured, okay, this might happen. But before that, I had no idea these two were on a collision course. Starcade 89, Night of the Iron Man. Iron Man, Sting pins Ric Flair, and Lex Luger is getting the title shots. So it's talking about how Sting won the Iron Man competition, and one of the persons he beat was Ric Flair, but Lex Luger was still getting shots at the U.S. title. I mean, U.S. champ Lex Luger was still getting shots at Ric's world title. And it's like Sting is like, hey man, but then Sting is like, Ric Flair is my friend. I don't want to fight my friend. Starcade 89, Night of the Iron Man, Iron Team Road Warriors. The fans are keeping them from the belts. And this is, the Road Warriors. The Steiners pinned the Road Warriors, but the Road Warriors won the entire tournament. So they were saying, but the Road Warriors still never got a shot because the Road Warriors and Steiner were both baby faces, good guys. But that was I love that title. I mean, I didn't really like the Steiners just because I loved the Road Warriors so much. I was a Road Warriors guy, and that made me like no other team could come close to the Road Warriors. But that match with the Steiners was really good, and it would have been great if they had a feud at that point. But they didn't pull the trigger. I know that was I love that match, Road Warriors versus Steiners. I love that match. Interview with Buzz Sawyer. This is him after he joined WCW and became part of Gary Hart's group with Buzz Sawyer and Great Muta and the Dragon Master. And they were feuding with the Horsemen. Lost in the Shuffle, 1990. 5 WWF stars who faced oblivion. Oblivion. I guess that's the word. Who faced destruction, I say. Like Macho Man, Kurt Hennig, The Powers of Pain, Ted DiBiase, and Terry Taylor. Well, the only person from that group that really faced destruction was Terry Taylor, because Terry Taylor was a great wrestler, man, but that Red Rooster gimmick killed that dude dead. I don't think there's ever been a gimmick that's killed somebody like the Red Rooster gimmick killed Terry Taylor. Before or since. I mean, maybe Adrian Adonis a little bit with his character, but man, that Red Rooster gimmick just was horrible. Yeah, I didn't even know what gimmicks were, and I knew back then that was bad because I knew Terry Taylor was pretty good from the little bit I saw of him before he became the Red Rooster, and once he became, it wasn't just the name, it was how he acted. I mean, man, that gimmick just killed him dead. Vince McMahon should have been arrested for that murder. They have advertisements for this month for the next issues of the Wrestler magazines for The Wrestler and Pro Wrestling Illustrated. One-on-one, Jerry Lawler versus Kerry Von Erich, where they're talking on the phone. Supposedly talking on the phone against each other. Of course, Jerry Lawler got some good one-liners in there. Not real good, but got enough. So, continuation of the fans writing letters to the editor. Sincerely yours. Continuation of dressing room door, where they continue talking about Starcade and the tradition of it not being on Thanksgiving anymore, and the Iron Man strategy that they did this year. Ric Flair versus Great Muta. A picture of Ric Flair and Great Muta. On Assignment, which talks, it's continuation of On Assignment where Liz Hunter is talking about Rick Martel. Back issues of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Talking about continuation of Ultimate Warrior in his soon to be confrontation with Hulk Hogan. Continuation of Iron Man Sting story. Continuation of Iron Team story about the Road Warriors. The official Inside Wrestling ratings, where they rank the top 15 people. Number 1, the NWA World Champ Ric Flair. Number 2, WWF World Champ Hulk Hogan. Number 3, WWF Intercontinental Champion Ultimate Warrior. Number 4, US Champ Lex Luger. Number 5, Curt Hennig. Number 6, Sting. Number 7, the USWA and Texas Champion Jerry Lawler. Number 8, the AWA World Champion Larry Zbyszko. Number 9, the NWA TV Champion Great Muta. Number 10, the Stampede North American Champion Larry Cameron. Number 11, Roddy Piper. Number 12, Dino Bravo. Number 13, Kerry Von Erich. Number 14, the CWA Champion Bill Dundee. And number 15, the Pacific Northwest Champion Scotty the Body. Let me look at the tag teams. Number 1, the NWA World Tag Team Champions, the Steiners. Number 2, the Road Warriors. Number 3, the WWF Tag Team Champions, Andre the Giant and Haku. Number 4, Demolition. Number 5, the Midnight Express. Number 6, the AWA Tag Team Champions, the Destruction Crew. Number 7, the Hart Foundation. Number 8, Ole and Arn Anderson. Number 9, the Powers of Pain. Number 10, Doom. Number 11, the USWA Tag Team Champions, Robert Fuller and Brian Lee. Number 12, the Wild Samoans. Number 13, the Bolsheviks. Number 14, Paul Diamond and the Trooper. Number 15, the Bushwhackers. I got here the roll call of champions. And the blast from the past, Dory Funk Sr. versus Cyclone Negro from February 17th, 1972. All right, and of course they got the wrestling hotline of Captain Lou and Bruno Sammartino. And of course got the WWF action figures. Okay, and this has been reviewing the Inside Wrestling in 1990 issue. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again.